Good morning one and all. Welcome to my channel. So in today's video, I'll be explaining the third poem of standard 10th. Poem 3 is Vachana, which is written by Basavanna. Actually, Basavanna has written it in Kannada. It has been translated by Ramanujan. Vachana is a poem which is written by Basavanna, but it is translated by A.K. Ramanujan. So when you are writing the reference to context, you have to put it in this way only. So children, coming to the poem as I said is written by Basavanna. Basavanna, he was a great social reformer. He was a leader of Veerashaivism. It was a religious movement of that time. It was a religious movement, and Basavanna was a leader of Veerashaivism. Some of the other Veerashaiva poets of his time are Akka Mahadevi, Allamma Prabhu, Devara Dasimaya. So these are the other poets of his time. As I said, the original kannada version is written by Basavanna. It is written in Kannada, the Kannada version of it. So in Kannada we have it as Ullavaru Shivalayava Maduvaru Nanenu Madalayya Badavanayya Nanenu Madali Badavanayya Enna Kale Kamba Dehave Degula. So this is a poem written by Basavanna in Kannada. The same poem has been translated in English, which is there in your book, as Vachana. It has been translated by A.K. Ramanujan. First I shall read the poem to you, then I shall explain it, which will be easy to understand. So the first paragraph is, the rich will make temples for Shiva. What shall I, a poor man, do? First paragraph, the rich will make temples for Shiva. What shall I, a poor man, do? Second paragraph, my legs are pillars, the body the shrine, the head a cupola of gold. So when you are reciting the poem, children, this is for memorization, quote for memory, you will have it for 4 marks. So when you are reciting the poem, that is when you are by-hearting the poem, put it in this way only, put a pause. The rich will make temples for Shiva. Put a pause there. What shall I, a poor man, do? My legs are pillars, the body the shrine, the head a cupola of gold. Listen, O Lord, of the meeting rivers, things standing shall fall, but the moving ever shall stay. So this is how you have to put a pause, and then you have to by-heart the poem. It is very easy to by-heart the poem. Within 15 minutes, you can recite this poem. If you put it in this way with a pause, the rich will make temples for Shiva. What shall I, a poor man, do? My legs are pillars, the body the shrine, the head a cupola of gold. Listen, O Lord of the meeting rivers, things standing shall fall, but the moving, ever shall stay. So this is the poem. Let us start with the explanation of the poem. It is very easy to by-heart this poem because it appears for 4 marks. These 4 marks are in your hand. Coming to the poem. Here the poet, Basavanna, appeals. This is also an appeal. Here the poet appeals to God in humility. He appeals to God in humility. What does he appeal? He says that the people who are rich and wealthy, build temples for you to show their devotion. He tells Lord Shiva, because he is a devotee of Lord Shiva. So he says, God, in order to show their devotion, the rich people, the wealthy people who are having enough money, what they do? They build temples for you. They express their devotion by building temples. And they are able to build temples only because they are rich. They are having lots of money. They are wealthy. But what a person like me should do, what a poor man should do to show his devotion to you. A poor man does not have wealth. So how can a poor man show his devotion? Here Basavanna says, I dedicate myself to you, Lord Shiva. I dedicate myself to you to show my devotion to you. The rich may build temples, the rich may build other structures to show their devotion, but I dedicate my whole body to you. He says, my legs are pillars. My body is the shrine where you reside, where you are there, where you exist. My head is like the cupola of gold. I don't have any money to build a temple, to build any structure, to show my devotion to you. But I dedicate myself to you. And my legs are the pillars, my body is the shrine, my head is like the cupola. So you exist in me. Further, Basavanna says, the temples, the other structures which are built by the rich people, they appear to be firm, they are strong, they appear to be firm. But these structures will fall and get destroyed one or the other day. They are not permanent structures. At present they appear to be very strong, but they are not permanent structures. They never remain. They will not remain forever. They are going to get destroyed one or the other day. The only thing that remains forever is the devotion, is the true devotion, the love of God. And it is these things that are dynamic. These things like love to God, like devotion, these dynamic things, they are not concrete structures. We cannot see them. We cannot see them. However, they move from generation to generation. They are present from one person, then the next generation people, in the next generation. So they are present in the generations, they are present in the people. So they are moving objects. These are moving objects. It is this devotion that remains forever, because today we show our devotion to God by praying, by reciting so many shlokas, by singing bhajans and so on. Next generation people also do follow that. For example, my grandmother did this, my mother did this, I will do this, my next generation will do this. So in this way, generation after generation, the devotion is shown to God. It is this way of depicting the devotion. But whereas 100 years old temple which was built in the Chalukya times or in the Rashtrakuta times has got destroyed today. We have to maintain it, the government are maintaining. So Basavanna is trying to tell us that the temples, the structures which are built in order to show the devotion, they get destroyed one or the other day. It is only that the devotion remains from generation to generation. So he conveys to Lord Shiva his devotion. This is a small poem wherein Basavanna has tried to bring a difference between the devotion of the rich and the poor. So the message which is conveyed here in the poem is, in the Vachana poem, message which is conveyed is that true devotion is dynamic. What is conveyed here? True devotion is dynamic, ever moving from one generation to the other generation. It is permanent. However, the temples built by the rich and the other monuments which are built by the rich in order to show their devotion, they appear to be very strong, they appear to be firm, but for a limited period of time, in the course period, they do not stay forever. They are going to get destroyed one or the other day. So here, the poet's idea of devotion is universal one. What is universal one here? The poet's idea of devotion. So this is a poem, Vachana, a very small poem. Usually this From this poem, we have the summary for 3 marks. For 4 marks, we have summary of the poem. Very simple, children. You all can just recite the poem and view my video once or twice. You will get the summary of the poem. Hope you have understood the poem. If you have understood my poem, like it, share and subscribe. One more thing I have to tell you is, from the examination point of view, the summary will be asked. Quote for memory for 4 marks, 4 lines. And for 1 mark, questions are like, is it an order or an appeal? Is it an order, or is this poem an order or an appeal? It's an appeal. What can we order to God? We are just like puppets in His hand. We are just like puppets in His hand. We can only appeal to God. So here also poet is appealing. So the other 1 mark question is, which are the standing things? What are the moving things referred to? So how do the rich try to please God? What do the poor do to show their devotion? So these are the small questions which appear in this poem. If you are perfect with the summary of this poem, you can write any question asked. So be perfect with this summary and recite the poem, which is very simple. Thank you.